right, next up is public hearing. The public hearing is open for the Trans Hudson Management CVS project. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on this project? No. The applicant has requested that we keep the public hearing open until the July 14th meeting. I know they were supposed to be in front of the planning board. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Last night? And they had theirs adjourned due to a death in the family. But I'd like to entertain a motion to keep the public hearing for Trans Hudson Management open till the July 14th meeting.
I will entertain that motion.
Second?
Keep it open.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. Next up is the public hearing on the Jewett Family Farm area variance. Patty is here today again.
Thank you.
All right, first, we'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved?
Second?
Second by Phil. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. How are you, Patty?
I'm good this evening. How are you? Beautiful weather out there.
Yeah, isn't it lovely?
Was it a crazy
Lovely
day or
evening.
what?
It was a crazy day.
Pat, did you get a chance to go out and walk the property?
I walked it before, last time around, so I even remember what it was all about.
You did. You remembered even more than we were doing now. I stick that over there. I think Kelly's way.
So Patty, why don't you just summarize?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Again, the application before the planning board right now is for a two-lot subdivision to subdivide a 104.98 acre parcel of land, which is partially in the village of New Paltz and partially in the town of New Paltz. The resultant lots will be lot number 1 of 10.47 acres, which will be substantially in the village with frontage on Huguenot Street, and it will contain the existing house and all the agricultural structures. Lot number 2 is going to be a 94.51 acre parcel of land, which will be located substantially in the town of New Paltz. However, the access strip to gain access to the property is located entirely in the village of New Paltz. Therefore, we are before the Zoning Board of Appeals because the Town of New Paltz zoning code density control schedule 140-11 provides that we must have 150 feet of road frontage and 150 feet of lot width in the town of New Paltz to have a valid lot. There is no provision in the code for an alternative of having access in another municipality. Therefore, we need to come before this board because although we are providing access to the parcel, it's in a separate municipality and requires approval from this board to grant the variances to those two sections of the density control schedule. I can go through, I don't know, we were before the planning board last night. One of the conditions that we agreed to with the planning board last night, which is already part of the conservation easement, is that no structures shall be built in that 100-foot strip, and then it shall be used for access only to the agricultural lands. All of these lands are subject to a conservation easement. There are a couple of minor changes that will be made to the conservation easement. One is to allow the agricultural structures, which were already permitted as part of the conservation easement, to be built in the rear of the lot, which will be shielded from Huguenot Street. The other was actually to permit the subdivision in the first place. And in order to permit the subdivision, you have to swap something back out. So they, as a public benefit, the landowners are agreeing to giving an easement for a pedestrian walkway along the Wallkill River. So there will be an additional restriction in the new conservation, well, it won't be a new conservation easement. All the conditions of the old conservation easement will hold. this will be a minor revision to that conservation easement,
Which is all a plus plus,
which is all the plus plus.
absolutely. Okay.
Any questions or comments?
Well, you're saying that the relief that you want is for 100 foot instead of 150 feet,
Should be 150 feet.
right? But it shows here on my map as 100 feet. So you're,
Correct. I'm asking for a full 150 feet because technically I have 0 in the town of New Paltz.
oh, okay, okay.
So I have to ask for the entire 150 feet.
Which is huge because
Yes.
it's simply an entranceway. It's not a building lot.
Right.
It could be, at 100 feet, it could be a building lot.
In the village of New Paltz, yes, in my,
You could
my
put a house on that.
explanation of the, of meeting the criteria, I point that out.
Yeah, yeah, you really could put a building.
Yes.
Building on that, but that's a small price to pay for
Right.
what they are asking to do. Okay.
Bill?
Well, as you know, Ed, we've walked it, we've seen it, I understand the situation, I have no issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone in the public have any comments?
Hi, I'm Rosemary Paulson. I live at 170 Huguenot Street. It's the gray house with white trim right across from Heidi's driveway. And I guess my question maybe, it's not so much a comment, but a question. I looked over the sketch map that was in the village hall a week or so ago, and I saw language pertaining to the conservation easement with respect to Lot 2, the larger lot. I did not see the similar language with respect to Lot 1. Obviously, I would love to see that carried over.
Yes, the conservation easement carries over to both of the lots. And when I was actually reading the note out loud at the planning board meeting last night, I said, I wonder why I only put lot. So that will be remedied.
Thank you.
There's going to be a couple of
Thank you.
additions and further restrictions on the notes, because if you'll recall reading the note, it also did not restrict any construction within that 100-foot strip, which is also agreed upon last night to be added, but I haven't done it yet.
Very good. That's why I'm here, just to kind of make sure, because I know Heidi, she was really so for it, and I really complimented you again.
And I did bring a copy of the conservation easement tonight in case anybody had any specific questions regarding the conservation easement. And basically, on the conservation easement itself, it shows Rosemary's driveway right here. And this is the only development area that is permitted on lot number 1. And within that development area, it's just a very small area around the house.
Got it.
And within that development area, there are
May I
significant,
stop you for just a moment? On this map, where is
She owns
Rosemary?
10.
She's 10,
Mhm.
okay, thank you.
so within lot number 1, all of those provisions also will be maintained, and they're outlined in the conservation easement.
Okay,
Wonderful. Anyone else in the public?
somebody just walked in. Does she have a comment? New person? This striped shirt?
You didn't have a comment on the Jewett.
I'm sorry.
Were you here for the Jewett?
No,
Okay.
I'm just here in general.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay.
We heard back from the ENCB with no comment. We also received 2 letters. Kelly, are these part of the record, or do they need to be read in?
No, that'll be part of the file.
Okay.
And you certainly can.
Well, we'll make it part of the record. Both letters are in favor. But the letter that we received from Christine, is it DeBoer's?
DeBoer?
Christine DeBoer. 6,000 square foot agriculture building, that's what you're saying is
Yes.
now no longer?
No, we're still, there was always a 6,000 square foot agricultural building envelope, and what it says in the provision, hold on a minute, let me get to it. I
Back
think it's
90 acres.
4.04.
Back 90 acres.
The grantor shall have the right to maintain, repair, replace, or remove the existing outbuildings in the barn. Additionally, buildings for agricultural use only may be constructed anywhere on the property with the grantee's consent. So now the grantee is saying, we consent those buildings to be built on lot number 2. The
Okay.
total footprint for such agricultural buildings shall not exceed 6,000 square feet, and no agricultural building shall have a footprint larger than 3,000 square feet. That's being increased to 4,500.
4,500, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
when you said last night at the planning board that no structures are to be built.
No residential
No,
structures.
okay, I'm sorry.
No residential structures.
What do they mean by agricultural building?
Well, one of the things we did clarify last night is that we are also going to put a specific note on the map because the conservation easement restricts any residential structures. And the question came up last night on whether or not farm worker housing could be considered an agricultural structure rather than a residential
Residential,
structure. So I clarified today with the applicants, the farmers who are going to be there, that absolutely positively, they understand that it prohibits farm worker housing. I understand it, the conservation easement, so we're going to make sure that that exact verbiage is included in the new conservation easement.
Okay.
No,
So a 6,000 square foot agricultural building could be a barn?
it's going to be a barn,
It's
yes.
going to be a barn?
Yep. And again, the maximum of any one building can be 4,500 square feet.
Okay,
And the aggregate can't exceed 6,000. So if they put up a 4,500 square foot barn, they can only put another 1,500 feet. They can't
be
exceed,
two-story.
no, they can't exceed 35 feet in height,
Okay.
one story.
okay. Could it house animals?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a plan for
Animals,
animals?
equipment, yes. I believe that they right now grow free-range poultry. They're right now exploring the code on what approvals are going to need to do that, because agriculture is allowed, but poultry, after a certain number in certain zones, you need site plan approval and so forth. But long-term, yes, they hope to
Okay.
have chickens on the property,
Okay.
in addition to their field crops.
Okay. It was, they had beef on this property, didn't they? Wasn't Calucci doing
He has hay.
some?
Yes, hay.
He had hay,
Yeah,
but
in
not-
fact, he was
not
haying
meat.
it the day that we were,
Right,
that we
yeah.
were out there.
Okay.
I don't know that he's ever
No animals?
grazed the beef there.
Okay.
If he, I've never seen them there, but that doesn't, you can't see them from the road, that's the
No,
thing,
no,
yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
I spoke with Dina Du Bois, and she did actually ask me to read in her letter, so if you'll allow me, to the town zoning board about the variance requested for the Jewett Family Farm Association. I support what the Wallkill Valley Land Trust has said. Here are my additional thoughts as president of the Jacob Elting Burial Grounds. I support solar panels, but want to make sure they are not visible from Huguenot Street. If on the house or barn roofs that are visible from the street, I'd want the type that go on looking like a standing seam roof. The PVs are less efficient but would meet the Preservation Commission standards, I imagine. I do not support an array of rack-mounted PVs. This sounds like a huge barn structure. I'd want it to look like a barn that would have been built in earlier times than now, not a metal building if seen from the street. I support the variance for the Jewett Family Farm flag lot, access to the farmland. I want to make sure that those accepting and offering the variance are aware of the positives and negatives of that. The good: privacy, no noise or gas fumes from traffic, a price that is usually lower than the price for a lot that has road frontage. And the bad: a lack of control over the use of the property in front of yours, driveway maintenance in the winter, difficulties faced by emergency vehicles in finding or accessing your property. Thank you, Dina Du Bois. And I just want to follow up with a question regarding the solar panels. Has there been any talk about, this would not, there's been discussion this would always be a
Right.
farm.
Mhm.
Could this be a solar farm?
Oh, my goodness.
what an
I,
idea.
yeah, what an idea.
What's a solar
We're
farm?
talking about variance here, not a site plan.
Okay.
Yeah, and last night, I wasn't even aware that solar panels were part of the conservation easement change until I got the letter from Christy DeBoer. And I stated last night at the planning board that although a conservation easement can be more restrictive than the town zoning, it couldn't allow things to occur that town zoning doesn't permit. And therefore, with regard to the solar panels, I was removing myself from anything having to do with it because I was not aware of solar panels being proposed. And so whatever they would do with regard to solar panels would need to go through the proper channels
But
in
that's in the
town zoning.
conservation agreement, the panels?
Evidently, they requested the ability to have solar panels as part of the conservation easement so
Got it.
that they didn't have to run electricity back there.
Got it.
So again, this would be an assumption on my part that it was solely a request that if it ended up being feasible for them to host their own electricity using solar panels, they would have the availability to do so. But again, that would have to go through all the proper zoning and building permit regulations that the town has in place. And they're not being proposed as part of either this variance or this subdivision.
Right.
I'm good.
Anyone else in the public? All right, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
So moved.
So moved.
So moved, yeah. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Why don't we go right to, are you comfortable reviewing this application with the information that we have?
I'm very comfortable accepting this applicant and this proposal, and I approve of it.
Thank you.
I think it's an easy one, yes.
Joe?
Should I, for the record, do?
Right,
Read the
okay,
questions
sorry.
if you want.
Sorry,
No,
we'll
that's-
delay my
Answer
response,
those.
Patty.
That's why we always look over at you, John. That's why we always look over at you.
You have it?
Yes, I do. All right, Patty, so for an area variance, we have to ask you 5 questions and look forward to your responses. Whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance.
An undesirable change or detriment will not occur as no change in use will be created by the subdivision, no structures will be permitted on the 100-foot wide strip in the village, and there is an existing farm road which will be relocated to fall entirely within the access strip.
Okay. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance.
It's impossible for the applicant to gain lot width and lot frontage on a town, county, or state road without relocation of the municipal boundary between the village and the town.
Whether the requested area variance is substantial.
It is a substantial variance, which is unavoidable due to the municipal boundary location. However, it is noted that the lot frontage and the lot width both meet the requirements of the zone in which it is located in the village, and it is consistent with the lot widths in the neighborhood.
Okay. Whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district.
The variance will not have an adverse effect on physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood, as the provisions of the conservation easement will be carried through to both lots, regulating uses, construction, clearing, driveways, and landscaping.
Okay. Whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the Zoning Board of Appeals, but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance.
The difficulty was not self-created, as the municipal boundary location is the only factor requiring the area variance, and that was out of the control of the applicant.
Okay. Thank you. Any further comments?
I'm good, thank you.
Entertain a
Okay.
motion?
Can we repeat my other motion? Do I have to repeat it?
I would love for you to
Oh,
repeat it.
thank you. I suggest that the zoning board of appeals accept this applicant with all of the supporting documents and approve the variance.
I will second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Can
Aye.
Can we amend
Yes.
that?
It might be a good idea to
Condition and-
add that the variance be approved conditioned upon and subject to any final site plan approval.
The subdivision
Oh.
approval.
Subdivision
Oh,
approval
that has,
by the
okay,
planning board.
okay.
Because that approval, if it comes, and it's expected to, will include all of the notes on the filed subdivision map, many of which are conditions about these buildings and uses and the rest of it. So, and it also ties it into the conservation easement, which is part of this as well. So I think if you make it
Subject to.
contingent upon and subject to any final subdivision approval granted by the planning board, you will have covered all of the same things in your resolution for variance that they will cover in their subdivision approval. And then there's no question about what applies.
Do you have that, Kelly? Thank you.
Do we need to restate this, or is this okay?
If you accept the amendment,
I accept the amendment, and Kelly has it, I believe. Okay,
to vote on the resolution as amended.
okay.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous?
Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank
Get on
you.
with it.
Thank you for your
Good luck.
hard work.
Wonderful job. Wonderful job, Kelly.
Beautiful piece of property.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, it's such a wonderful ending for
I
that.
never
piece
realized
of
it.
property.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The young farmers are very excited.
Are they? When do they plan to start?
They are supposed to be closing the end of July or beginning of August. I think that Paul's allowed to take the hay until the end of the season, and they're already planted where they are right now, so they won't be doing anything new this season, but, you know, we're getting
Isn't
ready.
that wonderful?
It is.
It's just a great ending,
It is.
complicated thing. Thank you.
Just review it tonight and so.
That is
Yeah, they all-
such a fantastic
Oh, it's
piece of
beautiful, yeah,
property.
it's beautiful.
And to have this kind of ending for that
Yeah.
is spectacular.
No, I agree, And that's what you want to see happen here.
Yeah,
And that's exactly what
absolutely.
it is. So, yeah, I was thrilled. I was thrilled.
Got it. Okay, up next, we have the area variance for 172 Plains Road, Brett Compton.
Good evening, how are you?
Well,
Good, hello.
hi.
Go easy on me, I'm new at this.
We all are.
I want her to come back and explain.
It's a friendly crowd.
Yeah, thank you.
She is wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us what you're looking to do?
Okay, currently at 172 Plains Road, there is a single wide trailer that's on the property when I purchased it. It's 66 by 14, 14 by 66. It was, I don't know when exactly it was put there, but it's, I think it was manufactured in 1973. So it's not cost effective at
It's a
this
little
point.
old.
Yeah, it's one down the block, a little older, believe it or not. It's not cost effective, you know, I've kept up with repairs, but at this point in time, I'd like to remove it and put another building in place of it.
Similar size?
Similar size, a little bit bigger, and a little different layout on the property.
Also a manufactured home or?
Yes, this is, I have, yes, that's
Oh.
the,
Is that the exact one, or is that a?
that's the exact one, it's a different color though. And I brought some pictures, I don't
Yeah,
know if
we-
this helps. But
Yes,
this is the
yes.
current lot, that, where I am.
Thank you.
And I just drew a little
Right,
understanding.
this is where you existing, and
Correct.
you're looking to,
Put it more square.
Over 180.
Right, into the property, because right now it's just a long way, the way it's set. So it would look more residential, this is what it looks like.
This is the existing?
That's the
That's-
existing.
oh, this is the
Yes,
existing,
and
okay.
the yellow, and then I couldn't get any clearer. Actually, here's the existing. And there's a page on front and back.
And just so you're aware, and I don't know, Pat, if you are aware of the property, but Ed and I know, I've seen the property.
Okay, I have not, so I'll get out there before
Okay.
the next public hearing.
so the dimensions are, it looks wider, is it longer as well?
It's not longer. It is 27 by 56. So it's a different layout as far as the square footage, because it's 27 by 56 versus 66 by 14.
So the existing structure is on basically wheels,
Oh, yeah, and cinder
So,
blocks.
cinder blocks, okay. And the new
wheels.
structure will be on
They would put a
permanent
footing,
foundation?
slab down, and then it would be fastened to it would be secured to the slab.
Okay,
So it would be 1,000 times better than what's existing there.
these are very nice, I've seen some of the
Yeah,
interiors
they
of
actually
these
make them,
houses.
there's phenomenal sheet rock inside, everything is Energy Star efficient,
Yeah.
from the windows, and just it's cost effective versus building stick, but for that expense. And it meets the needs that we're looking for, and it's really beautiful if you open it. And that one's just a different color, but I mean, the interior is right there, and
Yeah,
that's the
Yeah.
floor, that's the print of it.
so this, I haven't seen the property. Ed and Phil have seen it. Yeah, do you have a permanent house on this property, or is this going to be a permanent house?
I do not have a permanent house, and this will be the permanent house.
This will be the permanent house?
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
okay.
Are you gonna have to remove any trees?
I don't think so, because it's really cleared out, and where it's going to go is almost between those two trees.
When I'm looking at this, so it's gonna be more this way, correct?
Correct, and this tree's a lot more forward, and the way that we laid it out, this tree shouldn't be an issue, because we're actually set further back from our neighbors where they placed it. So,
Is that
but-
your well?
No, that's a tire.
Oh, okay.
The well's right over there, there's a fake well cover over the top of it, but the well is always over here on the left of the property.
Well, that's a good question. On Plains Road, yeah, are you on well and septic?
I'm on well and septic,
Okay, so it has an existing well and septic?
correct. Power, well and septic, yeah.
Okay.
This is 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, kitchen,
The existing?
yes.
And you're changing it to a
3 bedroom,
3-bedroom, 2-bath?
2 bathrooms,
Okay.
and
Have you explored whether or not you're going to have to change your septic system?
I
Because-
have, and it doesn't seem to be any issue with my current septic that we
Okay.
have, so.
You have sand out there.
Yeah,
You're lucky.
yeah, we have sand, that's right. Rumor is there's water coming out there.
Yes. Yeah.
My water's a little sulfury.
So this really isn't to scale compared to this one?
Yes. Well, yeah, I'm not a great artist,
I know.
but I was just trying to show where on the property square footage it would wind up landing
Which
versus
I
that
would-
one.
Correct, but this is more gonna be
Wider, yes,
like that.
yes, in scale to this,
Are
correct.
you gonna have any decks? I know you have 2 decks existing.
Right now, there wasn't a plan, I was just gonna have steps going up to it. I haven't gotten that far yet to figure that one out.
But nothing in,
In the plans right now, no.
got it.
If I do, I understand if I did want to, I'd have to file a permit, if I was gonna start that process to add a deck to the property.
You probably would, yeah, with the building department, sure.
Right.
Now, within, of course, the perspective of that we have to follow the variances, okay? My perspective that it's a total net plus visually. Visually, it's a total net plus,
Okay.
okay? As long as it adheres to the codes of the variances and putting that into effect, there's no question it's a total net plus compared to what's sitting there now. So,
Okay.
I've got a question to clarify for the record. What's the variance for?
Well, what I understand, it's
I
a
mean,
non,
does the existing building now encroach on Kelly front yards or rear yards or side yards?
No, I think what it is that it's
Pre-existing non-conforming.
Conforming.
But what's not conforming?
And now it's being,
What makes it, the fact that it was like mobile,
use, I guess, because you can't.
So it's a non-conforming building.
Yeah,
as opposed to its use? I mean, the use is single family
correct.
right.
within a single family residential zone.
Yeah, it's a non-conforming structure.
And the structure is currently non-conforming
Right.
because it's lot. Does the building inspector have,
Yeah, I guess because mobile homes are not allowed within the new zoning, only in the NH
Okay.
zone.
so the issues here are not front yard, side yard, rear yard setbacks. The issue is, it's a mobile home that's non-conforming.
It's really not a mobile home, I don't believe. It's a manufactured home.
But same
The
idea.
old one.
The old one, yes.
one.
There's a mobile home which is not allowed in the district, but it's
Right.
allowed because it's prior non-conforming use.
Correct.
Do you have
Going
an,
into a
sorry,
manufactured home,
Correct.
which is not a mobile home.
It's not a mobile home. It's a manufactured home.
So then why,
Portable only in the sense that until it gets there and then it gets
well,
affixed.
that's gonna be on a slab.
Right, you could technically detach everything, take it apart, and remove it.
Well, you could do that with a
Without-
modular.
Modular as well,
Sure,
correct.
sure.
That's correct.
why, yeah, why is it an issue? You have enough property for this.
Yes, ma'am.
You're on how
It's
many
on number
pieces?
19, 203, 242, 100, and 108.
So,
And
okay.
it's only 27 by 56.
Kelly, was there
Well,
any,
I don't think, it's a non-conforming structure. And now they're looking to increase the structure by 66%. And you can only,
While Kelly is looking that up,
because there's no footage
yeah, it
requirement.
says lawfully existing non-conforming use or structure may be continued but not enlarged or extended.
Right, but that,
But isn't there something that says it may be enlarged, provided that?
Expansion or enlargement of structure used for non-conforming use, notwithstanding any other provision of this chapter. Not exceeding in the aggregate the lesser of 10% of the floor area of the principal structure which lawfully existed on the effective date. So I think that's why Stacy.
may I ask you, while Kelly's looking that up, you're on 19?
Yes.
What is on 18?
Neighbor, these are all neighbors.
And these-
18 wants the old one. It's Jeff Logan.
Talafanos Farm is right here. Talafanos Farm.
Okay.
Dodd's Farm is over here.
Right.
And these are just residentials to the last lot, and the dead end is here, and the rail trail's right behind us.
Okay, so the end of Plains Road where it turns and goes to 208
Yes.
is down here somewhere, right?
Yes, at the
Okay.
last lot, you would go, Cedar.
Yeah, right.
Cedar.
They're right across from
Correct.
Taliaferro, the
Yeah.
Taliaferro Farms.
So there's a raised ranch here somewhere that I remember?
Yeah, a raised ranch. I'm trying
Or
to
a
think what
ranch
my-
of some sort?
Trying to think what they look like. I know Jeff is a modular, or a two-story mod, I think is what his is. The end's a colonial.
Okay,
There's a smaller with a big garage on the very end of the last lot, and they are,
so it's kind
this
of
might
a,
be a raised ranch.
Excuse me, Brett. Did you make an application to the planning board and have it,
To
and
the building
To the building
inspector for a
inspector.
building permit?
I did.
Take this off and put the new thing?
I did the permit first, but the way it was explained to me was that, the idea was that I could take the same exact size I have and put that back down, but I couldn't change the dimensions and reset it. So because I'm putting it down differently on the property and it was considered non-conforming, I would have to get an area variance
And it's non-conforming because it was a mobile home?
I believe so, existing, the existing. So I was just following the lead.
I guess I'm just confused without the denial or whatever from Stacy there. I assume she had a valid reason for why she couldn't get the building.
Yeah, she has quoted here section 140-44A, non-conforming building, and then she said the non-conforming structures to be increased 66%.
And what is 140-44A say?
That was that thing we looked at with non-conforming buildings.
Right, but doesn't it say that a non-conforming building may be enlarged?
50%.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, but across the street from me is a ranch, that's,
Provided that it does not increase
farm. His
any...
house
Okay, no,
is a
I was-
ranch.
I kind of remember this side of the
okay.
road.
It doesn't have all that.
So when are both ends of the building bowed out like that?
No, just the front portion.
So this front portion, this will be facing Plains Road.
Correct.
Nice view of the
I was gonna
sunset.
say, and the gunks. It's a-
And the
it's a
gunks,
beautiful-
right.
It's a
great
beautiful
view, yeah.
spot there,
It's
and
a great view.
it's been fun to see from the inside of the trail, but what happens is that room opens up to like that, so you really have a nice cup of coffee and enjoy the morning.
They
Absolutely.
really
It's a
make
great-
these
it's a-
nice now.
It's crazy.
do.
I
They really
couldn't
do.
believe for what they do and how well it's made. The roof bearing, everything is fantastic, so.
Is this a Pennsylvania thing?
They
Mountain.
do them in PA, and then there's a guy in Cairo, Hudson Valley Homes, I think it is, who works with them. And the sky's the limit, whatever you want to do at this point. They have second floors, they have incredible opportunities. I had a booklet, but they're at I think it's called Colonial.
Yeah, it's
Eastland, Shippensville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it says one.
But the unit I have, or he has ready, is he's in Cairo, Hudson Valley Homes.
Okay. Well, they really look like regular houses instead of.
Yeah,
condos.
what they used to make, yes.
Yeah,
And with the landscaping, and it'll be great. Compared to what I've had,
anything would be
a
better.
tent would be better at this point.
Are you living in the current current mobile home?
No, I go back and forth. I work in multiple locations. At one point, I actually went all the way up to Rochester, Newburgh, and then New York downstate. So it was like I was staying in between 3 months here, 3 months there. But yeah, all summer my family's up here and up here quite often, more and more. So as my wife Lorianne says, that's our next permanent move. Is
That's what she's saying.
that's just, oh, you kidding me? I can't get her home. When I said currently I'm stationed, and at least I'm flexible, and I can work from home and move around a bit. So it's been great. I love it. Just have to kind of get it up to speed.
Well, I have it here, but.
You know, for what it's worth, we did get an email from one of his neighbors, a gentleman named Mr. Logan,
Mr. Logan,
who had no issues with this whatsoever.
Yeah, I actually have letters of support from Pete across the street and from my other direct neighbor next to me. And I think they put the letters in Jeff's mailbox. So I don't have them with me, but I can add them.
Okay, so you have a letter from this guy and.
Yeah, Frank and Amanda, Jeff and
Yeah.
Teresa
And-
and Peter across the street. They
Terrific.
all
Terrific.
were
Make sure
excited
that-
to write a letter.
Yes, make sure that's part of the record.
Sure.
Sure, that's part of the record.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure you need a variance.
See, somebody told me that, but the originally, the way it was explained when I asked Stacy was that it was, because it was non-conforming and I was changing.
Right, but if you were going from a mobile, if you were going to build a regular house,
Right.
I don't believe you would need any variance.
Oh, really?
So what is the difference between what's existing now, is that a mobile home,
Right.
versus
The manufactured.
a manufactured home that's going on a slab?
Right, correct.
So that's what
Oh,
Joe was
okay.
trying to clarify.
Okay, great, great.
Correct, it's not gonna be on a slab, right?
It's going to be on a slab?
Yes.
Yeah, it's on a slab. It's not, I actually have what they pour it on. What it looks
Right,
like.
there'll
I
be
mean,
a
it's
slab,
kind of,
there'll be cinder block piers that the chassis sits on.
No, it's going to be on slab.
Well, that's what we're looking at.
yeah.
Right, number of turns.
This is gonna be a cinder block wall all the way around, is what it looks like. And then this is the chassis.
And then it gets fixed to the, and I believe they pour it also in the center, right? Or to the locations where they fasten.
4-inch thick
Still a
precast.
non-conforming built, non-conforming structure.
In the sense that it's
Right.
How much of this is gonna be crawl space underneath?
So we are increasing the
I wouldn't know the exact square footage, but there is air, there is space in between.
So it's not gonna be a whole
It's
slab?
not gonna be it's not gonna be the full, because it's 2.5 plus feet up.
Right, but the exterior is going to be cinder block wall.
Yes, correct, with a fixed, I'm gonna have a facade, like a stone look
Right, but
around.
you're not going, it's not gonna be one whole big slab is the question.
You know, I was trying to get that clarified, but that's why I have an engineer and I have someone else working with me, what they do, because I could bring it to them, and I wasn't sure if it's poured higher on the top and then they do lower on the base, but what I understand is they pour the whole slab.
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
That the whole thing is,
Yeah,
it's
why
not
wouldn't they
cheap,
pour it?
I'll tell you that much.
Why wouldn't they
So
pour it?
I think
I
they,
don't know, I'm kind of listening to what they're saying over there.
non-conforming by increasing the size of the unit, replacing the unit.
and when I think the outside cinder block is higher than what they pour, obviously, in the center, and then what they do is they place it, and then they secure it down with, I guess, what are the piers, and then it's permanently affixed to the new slab foundation.
What's the exact acreage?
Half an acre.
Half an acre?
Yeah, it's a little odd shaped lot.
And do you know offhand what, like, you know, Mr. Logan's acreage is offhand? Or-
Yeah, I can show it to you.
Yes.
Oh, there it is.
I'm,
166.
yeah, he's 18, I'm 19.
Okay, okay,
These are all non-conforming lots.
yeah, yeah.
Is that different in a tiny plot, like a non-conforming lot
Yeah,
versus a?
when a lot of lots originally, new lots are non-conforming because when they went to 1 acre zoning,
Right,
many of these acreage,
Yeah.
building plans were much less than 1 acre.
oh, okay,
So then it becomes non-conforming.
okay, I see.
So you're gonna be on a floating slab, it looks like.
Okay,
So there's gonna be a slab and then there's gonna be pillars.
right, okay, in
That's
between.
basically why.
Yeah, in a sense, this type of construction, since it's not attached, is essentially a mobile home because
Okay,
they're not mobile homes anymore, they're manufactured homes, but that's not like a double one. The chassis sits on blocks and can actually be detached from the slab.
right,
So in that sense, it's a mobile, it's not allowed.
Okay, it can be
within the
taken
zone.
away.
And this particular one is increasing the non-conformity of such a manufactured home. Because square footage wise, it's bigger. It's configured differently, but it's larger than what's there in terms of size. And you can increase a prior non-conforming use
Without a variance.
without a variance.
Okay. Okay. So that's why this is,
Typically, non-conforming buildings, non-conforming uses are supposed to go out of business so that ultimately the zoning district that they're located in has the stuff within that zone that's supposed to be there.
so Joe, is it possible?
That's why there's so many restrictions on non-conforming buildings and non-conforming uses and the enlargement of them.
So is the intention, and outside of, you know, where the variance stands, is the intention that we want it replaced with more of a structure?
A permanent
Or
structure?
versus an expansion of, you know, what we call a mobile home?
And that's exactly
Is that-
the issue here. This may actually be reducing the degree of non-compliance of the type of structure because it's taking it away from a truly mobile unit that's on wheels to a unit which is more consistent with single-family residential structures that are built on slabs and foundations.
And I'm sorry, Pat, isn't that what this gentleman's trying to do?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay,
One of the
okay.
things that he's
Okay,
trying to do is
okay,
reduce the amount of nonconformity by bringing on a
Okay.
structure that is more conforming to the buildings within the district.
okay, I'm
But
sorry.
if he were
But
to
he still
do,
needs a variance for that because this building is larger in square footage overall than
Okay.
the existing building.
Okay, okay.
if he were to do a structure, a new structure, single-family structure, he would not be before us.
If he were building what we might call a stick-built home
Mhm.
or a modular home,
Right.
no, you'd come in and get a building permit, as long as you met all the setbacks in
Right,
the district,
Okay.
you'd be
Okay,
okay.
so the
It's
issues-
the type of, it's the
Got it.
type of
Issues.
construction.
And just for
Manufactured.
my edification, this is not considered a modular?
I think by definition,
By
I
definition,
think-
because it sits on the chassis that can be moved at some point in time. It's a manufactured home.
Okay,
Which is the new term for mobile.
okay.
A modular home sits on an actual
A-
foundation.
An actual foundation, and that is brought in sections,
That's
okay,
New York State building
okay,
code.
got
it's
it,
attached. This sits on
Got it.
piers on a slab and then is skirted,
Yeah,
really.
thank you,
Yeah.
versus on a frame with cinder blocks.
okay.
But
Aesthetically, it's reducing the nonconformity, but size-wise,
Right,
it's increasing
Right, it's a little more square
Okay.
footage.
that's,
untechnically.
that's why
It's
he's
very,
here for the
in your
variance.
case, it's very technical.
Yeah.
This is an area variance or is it a use variance?
It's an area variance because of the size of the unit going on. The property is larger than the size of this one. It just so happens that aesthetically, maybe the two structures look differently, but it's not a use variance because the use is going to stay residential.
Mhm.
It's single-family residential for single-family residential, so it's not a use variance.
Okay,
It's still an area, in that sense, of, or bulk variance, if you will, in this case. An area of bulk variance.
Any other questions or comments?
No, my only comment is that, again, within the parameters of adhering to variance regulations, to me aesthetically, it's an absolute net plus. So if that has value, I want to throw that in there.
okay.
Well,
We'll deal with that.
well, the next thing that we need to do is set a public hearing. I'd like to make a motion that we, or I'll entertain a motion that we set the public hearing for our next meeting, which is July 14th. Are you available?
I'll make myself available.
So moved?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
So
July
we'll-
14th.
Is that here?
Mhm.
7 o'clock?
that'll be here. You can talk to Kelly because you need to notify neighbors.
Okay.
Any letters that you may have would be
Okay.
great to bring as well.
Mhm.
In your application, there's these 5 questions that we're going to ask you.
Yes.
He'll be prepared to address those.
Okay.
and-
Can I get her, who left before, to help me answer those questions? She was brilliant.
So,
Okay.
okay, so our public hearing is set for our July 14th meeting. We look forward to seeing you then.
Do I submit those letters before to the
Yeah.
building department?
Yeah,
If you'd like,
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, great.
that'd be great.
yes.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you
That's
very
it.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you,
good evening.
Yes.
thank you, you too, appreciate it.
Right, sorry for the confusion, but
Oh, no, that's okay, I learned something.
before I got the answers here, there really wasn't anybody.
Yeah,
The building inspector.
It's good that now I understand.
Now we do.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any old business?
I have
Yeah.
nothing.
And no administrative notes, so if there is nothing else, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:53.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi, nice going.